Started out as a really simple, really common way for us to book a vacation or a short-term rental, right? Well, now smugglers are exploiting these short-term rentals to hide their human cargo. And what we're looking at here, you just mentioned it, a bust in El Paso where Border Patrol and Texas DPS found 13 illegal immigrants being stashed in a home there. And yeah, the surprising part about all of this, it was an Airbnb rental turned stash house.
Smash up the likes, subscribe to the channel. I'd really appreciate that. Welcome to the Chesley Major channel, Chesley Major Media. I'm your host, Chesley Major, and we about to do a real major. What's going on, fam? What's happening? What's hap? Welcome to Chesley Major Media. Thanks for joining me. Do me a favor. Don't forget to hit the like button, and if you're not subscribed to the channel, go ahead and subscribe to the channel. That helps me in the algorithm. Okay, let's do it. Get straight to it. Migrants, illegal migrants that is, are getting real crafty nowadays when it comes to crossing the border illegally. They're doing any and everything they can to still make it here, even though the numbers have dropped exponentially. Border crossings have went from thousands a day now down to only 25 to 30 a day. Yet, they are still coming over. They're finding new ways to enter the United States. Today's video details a new discovery, how migrants are piling up by the dozens in Airbnb stash houses. That's right, I said it. All across the United States, illegal migrants are using Airbnb stash houses to hide out. Now, even though crossings at the border are at an all-time low, illegal migrants are still crossing into the U.S. Now, they're getting very creative. Check out this report on how they are now entering the United States. Let's get into it.
So here's what we know. The property owner became pretty suspicious about this situation after noticing unusual activity and immediately contacted Homeland Security investigations. Agents got there. They found 13 migrants from Mexico and Guatemala inside of that rental, confirming the owner's worst fears. Now, the trend of rental properties isn't necessarily new, and oftentimes those are a year-long lease. But in these short-term rentals, it's a little bit tougher because they cycle people through more quickly, and it is very difficult to prove that the actual homeowner is innocent and not involved in the criminal aspect here. So we talked with a former special agent with Homeland Security Investigations who tells us during his time looking into these crimes, a homeowner was generally unaware of what was taking place. Victor Avila blames the current administration's policies for the rise in stash houses and says that many individuals in these locations likely have criminal histories.
It could be a house, it could be a garage, it could be a hotel room, a motel room, it could be an apartment, it could be so many different types of locations. Sometimes we're talking about family units, and they will put so many people over capacity of a certain location with the most egregious of circumstances, with very little water, very little food, just enough to hold them there while they distribute them just like a product.
Now, a lot of these owners of Airbnbs, they know what time it is. They know what's going on. A lot of Airbnbs have cameras in it. These people are complicit. Definitely not all, but I think some know what is going on, because it's all about the dollar, all about getting paid and taking advantage of the situation that is going on in the United States right now. There's a ton of money to be made when it comes to trafficking illegal migrants.
Describing the conditions, saying that many times they don't often even have water, Marnie. So Border Patrol has also said that these stash houses are often overcrowded, they're unsanitary, and of course, they're unsafe, Marnie.
And Allie, how often are they being busted?
Yeah, I wish I could say once in a while, but it's happening on a near daily basis in the El Paso sector, which is where we saw this one incident really playing out with the 13 migrants. So since this fiscal year began, which was in October, Border Patrol agents in the El Paso sector have disrupted at least 234 stash houses. They have rescued more than 2,300 migrants. Airbnb is not alone here. In El Centro, agents recently arrested 17 individuals at a stash house. U.S. Border Patrol agents in El Paso, They disrupted a smuggling operation, a different one than the 13 we're talking about. This one was using apartments to stash 27 illegal immigrants. Now, as Victor was saying, stash houses can be just about anything. Now, something important to note here is, what is a stash house? Well, they're not isolated to the southern border. That's not the only place we're seeing them. They're littered throughout the United States, because what happens is they start out crossing the border illegally. They end up being smuggled into one of these homes along the border. And then from there, until they get to their final destination, Marnie, they're moving from stash house to stash house or stash location. And every step of the way, yes, unfortunately, they are on the hook to pay the cartel. So that is the reality of these stash houses. They can be anywhere throughout the United States.
Yeah, a lot has changed since the Trump administration has taken over. It is not as easy as it was to get in the United States. You know, like when Let 'em Go Joe was in office. I mean, they were just flooding the border and crashing out, doing all they could. I'm talking any means necessary. Now, as you can see, the reporter talks about how some of these places are just foul, unsanitary places. They don't even have water in them. Now, if you're coming over here illegally from jump, you can't be seeking asylum because you're doing some illegal business from the start. They're using many tactics, not just stash houses, to elude and evade Border Patrol and Homeland Security. Check this out.
Consequences are spiking amid a crackdown along the southern border. It comes as crossings in the Del Rio sector have dropped to an average of just 25 per day across more than 100 miles. But President Trump is pushing for zero crossings. So law enforcement is ramping up deterrence measures, increasing patrols, and enforcing stricter consequences for those who cross illegally.
One of those consequences is new, and it involves anyone who's trying to cross the border illegally and remain undetected using these. These are carpet shoes. It's something that they're using once they cross illegally. Let me show you how it works. So you can see right here, there's a normal footprint, right? Pretty easy to track. When you put these carpet shoes on, pretty tough to follow that one. So that's what they're doing, and it's a clear sign that they're trying to evade, and they're not coming in seeking asylum. So this is not necessarily a new tactic. I've seen this used over the last 4 years. Illegal immigrants using these. Most of them do obtain these booties from the criminal cartels in Mexico, which often comes with a camouflage kit or outfit, depending on how much they pay. The agency, Border Patrol, is hoping that these new criminal charges will prevent others from trying to evade this way. Now, these individuals are subject to being prosecuted with up to 2 years imprisonment for using this tactic throughout this sector.
So instead of catch and release, now if you get caught, you're facing prison time before you even get deported. See, this is how you deter people from crossing the border illegally. You don't incentivize it by saying, hey, I'm going to let you go. And as a matter of fact, here's a brand new iPhone so you can go connect with your people and hook up and get some benefits. Nah, that ain't what's happening now. But let's dive back into
In
it.
addition to that, being able to deliver a consequence, not only are we doing our job, but we're delivering consequence. Word gets out quick. Illegal aliens, word carries fast, and they know that if they come in, they're going to get apprehended and then sent back to their country. That's why a lot of them choose not to take on that journey anymore. And some that are being repatriated into the interior of Mexico choose not to come back. They go on their journey back home. Whereas before, when we voluntarily return or repatriate someone to the same area, you'll see them back the next day. That's not the case anymore. They're being flown back or driven out to the interior of Mexico, if not their native country, and they're not coming back.
I mentioned about 25 people a day is what they're averaging, which they can handle.
Wow, that was a quick turnaround from 10,000 a day to only 25. See, I knew it could be done. I'm actually satisfied with the way that he's handling the illegal migrant situation. He's deporting them, sending them back. He's cut off the benefits. There's still much work to be done. Because as I look around, there's plenty of illegals still here. Even though the streets aren't just littered with them, scooters everywhere with backpacks just walking around. It was very scary at one point because I have daughters and I don't know where these people are from and what they're capable of. It's real mild now. It's calmed down. At the same time, There are still plenty out there. But under the Trump administration, things are getting done as far as the border goes. But that's all I got, guys. Like, share, and subscribe for more content like this. I am Chesley Major. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.